Hello, everybody. Today we're going to talk about Fallout 4, right, and the pending update. I would have reported on it earlier, but I've been working, so I haven't had the chance. But we're also going to cover a few other issues, like what happens when companies are taken over by people like Microsoft. We talk about Skype Scripts Extender, heat issues, mods, conflicts, and a few other points like that, which will naturally come from any update that Bethesda make. So let's get into it, shall we? First of all, the news. Sometime in 2023, Bethesda is going to give Fallout the Skyrim treatment and give it a kind of anniversary update. But this update is free. It's coming with tweaks for the consoles, the new consoles, to make the game run. Take more of the hardware into account. It's going to have performance tweaks and things like that, made for 4K. That's important. Remember, 4K means a lot more heat generation. So keep that in mind when I get to the heat section. Um, and some creation kit mods and things like that. Right, so it's something to look forward to for 2023. Even though the last game we got from Bethesda was over a decade ago, it feels like it. So, or was it 2014? It's a long time anyway. Now, when this happens, you're going to get things like Skyrim Scripts Extender will probably break. Oh, not Skyrim. Fallout Scripts Extender will probably break. This is an inevitable side effect of the update, and it's something you shouldn't be alarmed about. It's just going to happen. A week or so later, or a month later, there'll be a new version of Fallout Scripts Extender. Problem solved. Right, so that's nothing to panic about. It just means a bit of a wait for the scripts extender to be done. If you use the scripts extender, you should be used to this by now. It comes with the territory. Mod conflicts, the creation kit stuff, we don't know how they're going to be implemented, if they're going to be added to the main data files, or they're going to be things you can enable and disable. But if they can be able to disable, the problem solved. If they're a part of the game and there's a conflict with mods you've got, then you're going to have to either dump the mods you've got or just enjoy crashing your game out. Because a lot of users like to run everything. They take the Pokemon approach to mods. I want to run them all, even though it's going to make my game crash every 5 minutes. I don't do that. I do not recommend that, and I don't have any mod issues. I don't have any mod conflict issues. I want to get my mod sorted. It takes me 5 minutes, not 2 or 3 weeks, tweaking. So, if my advice, if you do get a conflict, pick a mod, dump one of them. Or pick two mods at conflict, dump one of them. Anyway, moving on, right? Heat. Now, Fallout 4 is unique in the respect that it generates 100°C temperatures, right, whenever you play it. None of the other Fallout games do that. They all run about 60, 70°C. Now, 100°C temperatures is overclocking territory, but my system isn't overclocked. But that's the temperature I get with that game, and it's the only Bethesda game that does that. Now, they're talking about running it in 4K when you're already getting them kind of temperatures from standard definition. That's going to create an issue. That's going to need better heat management. Now, I don't know if the new consoles are up to it, but if they just implement it directly, they'll probably have a meltdown. So I think what's going to happen is one of the tweaks for the consoles will probably be bringing the Fallout 4 game, its power draw and its heat, into line with Skyrim and all the other games, in which case it should be fine. Because Skyrim and other ones run quite, all the other games run really cool. They're low power, low energy games. As I mentioned in my Gaming in the Energy Crisis series, Fallout 4 and BattleTech were two of the worst ones for power draws and energy usage. Yet Fallout 4 and Skyrim are running off the same engine. So why is one hotter than the other? It's a mystery. Now we talk about creation kit content. I've got no idea what they're going to include in that. It's still early days, but hopefully it'll be a nice little package. If it's not a nice little package, then it'll just be a waste of time. But I also get the impression that from the PC perspective, we're probably not getting a lot out of this update. It probably won't be so relevant to us as it is for the console users who are running new hardware and they're not seeing the benefits from that old game. Now, when we talk about Microsoft and taking over companies like Bethesda and Obsidian, this is a follow-on from the Fallout New Vegas video that I made recently. The news that Obsidian are interested in making Fallout New Vegas 2. Now, I've been gaming since I was 13. I'm in my 50s now, right? My first computer was a VIC-20, so that's a long time. So you can trust me when I say I've seen this many times. Big developer takes over small companies. That small company doesn't make successful games as often as the developer would, the publisher would like. So they start handing out their IPs to people like Obsidian. Obsidian then make the games, they make some success. The original developer becomes more irrelevant and slowly fades into obscurity until the team is disbanded, like happened to Maxis under EA. And it's happened to Westwood, it's happened to, what's the other one? A bunch of others anyway. Maxis, Westwood, Microprose, a lot of them have gone the same way. Now, sometimes you get original members of the team form the new group, like Piranha for MechWarrior 4, because when Microsoft took over the BT license, they made MechWarrior 4, right? And then when they'd finished, they sold it off to Piranha, who then made successful MechWarrior games, like MechWarrior Mercenaries 5 and Battletech. These are very good games. And some of the original members of the Battletech development team are in Piranha. That's my understanding. So sometimes you get original developers taking back the rights to the games they helped create and continue making great games. More often than not, though, the whole team is the secret to the success of a game. And once you remove half of it, it's like a TV sheet remake of a popular show. It doesn't have the same appeal because the chemistry isn't there. And this is the thing you've got to be careful of. But this is a natural development. This is this cycle of life in the gaming community. When you get brought out by a big developer for money, short-term gains and stuff, about 10, 15 years down the line, we find out the company's disappeared. That just goes with it. Sometimes it grows into something else, like The Sims has, where Maxis was all about Sim Life, Sim Earth, Sim City, right, and The Sims. And the developer goes, or the publisher goes, let's just make the Sims games and milk it to death, and kills the market for that and kills their own IP. And sometimes, they develop it in such a way where it actually becomes better. More often than not, though, people tend to make clones of a game with mixed results. That was a good game. This is a clone of that game. And there's a danger here that, with Microsoft being under the umbrella, with Bethesda being under the umbrella of Microsoft, if they don't start churning out single player games again soon, they might end up in the same boat. I know we've got Starfield on the horizon, next year, but that'll have to be a success, right? Because we've been a decade without a proper release, or not news of proper releases, and new games that is, and now we've got Starfield being delayed until 2023. If that's a success, I'd say Bethesda are on safe grounds. If that isn't a success, then the chances are their assets might be given away to more companies. You'll see more Elder Scrolls games, more Fallout games, but it won't be made by Bethesda. Might be more stable. Eventually, you might see Todd wandering off to make his own company and then buying up his licenses like Sid Meier's did, and again make a new company. Because sometimes the secret of success is down to one guy, his vision, and sometimes it's the team. I'm not too sure how that plays out with Bethesda, but it's just the way it is. But right now, we need Bethesda to make single player games, and the primary reason for that is they focused on the MMOs for too long. I knew they would. I said way back when they started and made the announcement that MMOs will just take over because the macro management, or the macro exchanges of money, because it's a way of making tons of money really fast, but it doesn't really appease gamers' desires. And recently, according to news I've seen, the MMO market is dying a little bit. People are just dropping off. The numbers of playing are dropping off. It's switching back to the single player market, and Bethesda is just a little bit late on that bandwagon. They're kind of like, oops, look, our money's gone, best switch back, and it'll be years before they're there. In the meantime, other developers are coming out with games, and they'll be taking market share from Bethesda. So we'll have to see how that works out. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. It is good news about the Fallout update, right? It's not brilliant news. It'll probably be like many of the other updates they've done, that the PC market went, well, God, just distinctly underwhelmed by it. But I am hoping, at the very, very least, they make the game run a lot cooler. because I like my hardware and I don't like it burning out in a spectacular rainbow coloured screen. See you in the next one.